Hi, I'm Elliot E. Stokes, pastor and now activist. And before, I told you that the reason that I've become an activist now is because I'm believing that God is calling for us as Christians and also those who are given the responsibility to lead other Christians and to also lead the world and the nation out of darkness, i.e., pastors, ministers, evangelists, teachers. It's our responsibility not to be silent in times like these. If we look at the story of Christ, we never find a place where he's just being silent or he's not speaking towards the issues and the ills and the problems of that day. Whenever he saw wrong and saw it happening, remember in Matthew, I believe it's the 24th verse, he put forth a strong rebuke towards the religious leaders who were just standing by while the people were suffering and in pain, while they were hungry, not only for natural food, but hungry to hear a life word. He gave them strong rebuke for being stuck only in religion and not understanding that the heart of the law is justice, mercy, love. And now we're in this political climate that basically created me and probably created more like me, more like those out there who have something to say, but don't feel like us as pastors should say anything that pertains to this political climate. Now, let me make myself clear. I'm not trying to get anyone elected. It doesn't matter to me. God has already told me who's going to win this election. So I'm not concerned about that. And whenever God tells me anything about when it comes to politics, he's not looking for me to insert myself into the conversation to get someone elected. But he is looking for me to insert myself into the way people are getting elected. And the way that the vitriol and the heinous way of talking about your fellow man has become acceptable. And if we stay silent as the moral carriers commissioned by God to put the character of Jesus in this earth and sit by while some politicians ride the back of hate, of distrust, of division, of all types of misogyny, xenophobia, making someone different, making someone else the other. If we sit by, then we are not doing our job, and I won't be doing my job. This situation in Dallas was the ending, the accumulation of much feelings and distrust and hurt that compiled into one angry reaction. But it's only because we're not talking to our neighborhoods and we're not talking to the people that's around us, and we'd rather talk about somebody than talk with someone. And I can tell you, as a pastor, I deal with this every day in my neighborhood. I was talking and ministering to some young men yesterday, letting them know that what's in them is great enough to care about their life versus just trying to prove that they're either big enough or they run this territory. We have a lot of gangs and a lot of violence in our neighborhoods, and in my neighborhood particularly. But that's why God sends the church. He says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. But he did also say, every tongue that rises against you in judgment, thou shalt condemn. Not he shall condemn, we shall condemn. And if we let this political atmosphere full of hate, full of hurt, causing people to feel like this is the way that people react, instead of being sensible and intelligent enough for us to express ourselves, be disagreeable without being enemies, then we're not condemning the rhetoric and we're not condemning what's being said. And it's up to us Christians, it's up to us leaders, it's up to us pastors and teachers to stand up in this climate and not just accept what's going on as if this is normal. It's not normal. It's not normal for me to be concerned about my brothers and about my sisters and those who look like me going out every night being nervous that they may not come home. And the thing that we're missing is the hurt of the people is boiling over into reactions and expressions that create no dialogue, but just causes people to act out. But what would have happened if someone would have reached out? What would have happened if someone would have reminded them, the policemen and the other gunmen alike, that someone is expecting their father or their mother to come home, just like your mother and your father is expecting you to come home. Some little girl is looking for her daddy to come back from the store, just like your mother is looking for you to come back from wherever you are. Once we stop demonizing people for their political affiliations, what they personally believe, what they personally stand for, remember, God said that what goes in a man is not what defiles him. It's the things that come out of a man is where murder, sedition, heresies, all these things lie. They come out of a person. So we cannot govern morality. Only God can change hearts. Men's hearts must change before kingdoms do. And if we are to battle the kingdom of darkness effectively, we've got to get with the business of changing men's hearts. So policemen won't see this black man, this Latino man, this other minority as just someone in society that doesn't matter. But they'll see them as someone's father, someone's son. They'll see them as human. And the same for those gunmen that are acting out. They will understand your acting out did not help the very reason that you're seeing that you're acting out. And I'm saying this for all those across America. We just had another shooting today in Michigan, in the courthouse. The enemy is trying to cause us to feel as if we're in a civil war. We're not in a civil war. We're in a civil discourse. But we haven't taken the opportunity to reach out to our brother, to our sister. No, I'm not an activist to get anyone elected. I'm an activist for us, Christian men, women, leaders, to stand up and say we won't accept the way people define us. But we will stand up, won't be silent anymore, and define our own selves. What we think about it, what we believe about it, and what we think should be done in this time is to love.